to vanish, leaving a trail of debt and broken promises. Well, most recently he disappeared after his Newcastle call centre collapsed. Now more of his former staff have come forward in the hope that Will Moffat can be brought to book. The man with many identities. We found out about William Moffat, who has a track record of failed businesses and unpaid bills, when he set up Evolve Sales and Marketing, a call centre in Blandford Square.
Will was a massive character, you know. He was quite a strong Scottish accent, you know, very friendly, warm feeling.
I'm sure quite a few people thought I can potentially learn from this guy, you know, look up to him, if you like.
But payments weren't met, staff weren't paid, and Will disappeared, leaving many unanswered questions.
And all of these invoices started coming in on top of that, saying missed payment, you haven't paid us, I want my money.
Most people did not receive their wages, me included.
Will Scott, that's Will Moffat, was co-director of Evolve along with this man, Mark Ewing. Since we broadcast our programme, we've spoken to other staff who are still owed money from Evolve. And Will promised one employee more than just his pay packet. As well as working for Evolve, 17-year-old JJ Stavers is an aspiring boxer, and he believed he had Will's full support. He was going to be your sponsor, really?
He was going to be my main sponsor as well. He agreed to be the main one, the one that would help, you know, pay for everything.
North East boxing promoter Steve Wraith met JJ through Will, but soon became suspicious of the man calling himself Mr. Scott.
When we came to do the signing with JJ, it was evident that he was backtracking. He didn't want to put the money in. You know, cash flow problems, etc. were what he put forward as his excuses for not actually being able to stump up the money.
Steve says he didn't receive any of the money promised by Will. And as for JJ, he didn't get his sponsorship.
Not only did it cause problems for myself, it caused a lot of problems for my family. I didn't have any other option but to borrow money.
And Steve says it wasn't long before Will was asking him for money.
He rang me out of the blue, just said, look Steve, I'm having a little bit of an issue with my finances. And essentially JJ and everybody else who works here won't get paid this weekend, and I've got a few outstanding invoices to pay. I'm just wondering whether you could lend me £10,000 until next week. I just said, look, I'll make a few calls for you, Will. Needless to say, when I put the phone down, I had no intention of making any calls for Will Scott.
We've spoken to 24 people who worked directly for Will and Mark at the call centre. Each of them told us they were owed money, some a few £100s, others up to £8,000. That's a lot of debt and a huge impact on people's lives.
£1,468.80. That's how much they owed us.
I'm probably owed about £4,000.
1 month would lead to another. Your rent would build up. You know, you felt like, am I going to sink or am I going to swim? Especially when I was running my house by myself at the time.
It's taken a huge chunk of my confidence. I would only describe the feeling as crushed, deflated, lack of motivation. I didn't even want to leave the house.
Evolve Sales and Marketing and Will and Mark's 3 other companies are still active on Companies House. This means it's much harder for former employees to claim any money back.
They can't get anything from the National Insurance Fund unless the company's actually insolvent. So it does limit their options, and you can end up with a tribunal judgment, but then you end up just basically owed money by the company and no particular route for getting it.
ACAS told us employees could petition the court to wind the company up. This would mean they'd then be able to claim payments, but they would have to cover legal costs themselves.
But Mark needs to close the company, give all the staff members a chance to claim their money back.
I think Mark is sort of half responsible of the way that we were handled, the way that everything was dealt.
We've spoken to Mark Ewing, and again he's declined our invitation for an interview. He told us that he is no longer involved with Evolve or any company associated with William Scott. He says the last few months have been horrendous and he's trying to move on. Well, we checked with Companies House, who tell us that Mark is still listed as a director of Evolve Sales and Marketing.
I just think he's just trying to dodge the blame. I think he's trying to escape all responsibility. Yeah.
I do think he's very selfish. I just think that it's a slap in the face, really, for everybody who's been involved.
So what about Will? In December, he stayed at a hotel in Sheffield. And since, they've told us they've received 4 letters demanding money from the vanishing Mr. Moffat. One from Glasgow, one from Merseyside, and another as far away as Somerset. Needless to say, there's no sign of Moffat in Sheffield. Well, I've got another number for him. Let's give it a try.
The Vodafone voicemail service for...
Straight to voicemail. Well, he can run, he can hide, and whatever name he chooses next, we'll still keep looking for William Moffat.